thank you of sorts. Venting. I am 54. Uncovered lies which led to the discovery of my F36. Infidelity. On one hand, I wish I'd never discovered this group. Never learned the lingo of lives dissolving, STBXW, WS, AP, monkey branching, trickle truthing, gaslighting, sleuthing, lie detection, how to steer conversation subtlety to observe tells and changes to answers, DNA testing ad nauseum. Never read hundreds of posts and comment threads about how other people's lives blew up over the same old behaviors, flaws, weaknesses, and mental health issues. Just neatly wrapped in individual landmine packages. But the fact remains, despite that, I owe all of you a huge thanks. Had I not had the resources and knowledge here, I'd have made huge blunders and poor decisions out of a purely emotional base. Instead, I was ready, collected, had plans A, B, and C in pocket and determined. I won't bore you with the all-too-familiar details and condemnation of my WS behaviors. The lies started before we were married, before we were engaged, and continued on. The infidelity supposedly suddenly ended in 2015, but the lies did not. Between 2015 and now, we added 3 children to the marriage. B, 6. G, 4. B, 15 months. I've been through trials in this life I'd not wish on my worst enemy, but what I went through, as realization dawned on me, during a confrontation with my WS, damn near broke me. I literally flashbacked to what I learned here as my heart fell out of my chest. I started implementing it as a 5.5-hour confession evolved in sickening inches. Worse, I've been cheated on before with a thermonuclear result and never saw this coming. I really hate being a fool, but here it was again, staring me in the face, and how I dealt with it was going to determine mine and my children's futures. As I processed it all, I got some really good advice from a variety of sources. I decided not to divorce yet, and here's how it's unfolding going forward. Public admission of all misdeeds, details, persons involved on social media and privately to family. Closure of all social media accounts, with the last thing visible on the timeline being her admission and apology. Open phone policy with location tracking always enabled. Counseling for her and later for us together. Since she killed our marriage, I no longer celebrate our dead anniversary. Our 10th was to be in June. Her engagement ring and wedding ring are being sold for scrap to pay for DNA testing, STD screening, and the lawyer to draft the postnuptial agreement. My wedding ring will be sold for scrap as well, with the proceeds going to gifts for the kids. She fully understands she burned my trust to a crisp, and it will take years to earn it back, if ever. I told her that while we may not be legally divorced, I consider myself to be in a relationship where I make a daily choice to stay or go. A thank you of sorts. Update 1. What can I say? I'm so weary, struggling here. She trickle-truthed and minimized more. A couple new discoveries. Willingly gave up the lies, the online EAs and hot chats. But the PAs? I can't remember. Stall. I made the appointment with the lawyer and let her know she had until today for full disclosure. Zero BS tolerated. I'm making a fucking choice staying, and you refuse to disclose now that PA is in the mix. I went to bed last night with no answer. This morning she got up before me. Made coffee for me, tea for herself. I went to the basement halfway through my cup. Mainly to grab a first cigarette in the laundry room. Scope news while on the toilet there. Then my PTSD lizard brain SERMS. Danger. I see it. My hydrocodone bottle. It's half an inch out of place and empty. OMFG. Half of the bottle of muscle relaxers is gone too. And it's a big fuxering bottle. 90-day supply from the VA. I rush upstairs and asked her point blank. Did you take pills? Her answer with a fucking grin on her face. A whole lot. 2 handfuls. When? As I dial emergency. About an hour ago. My kids saw the whole fucking shit show. Heard shit they should never have heard. Seen mom go dopey/sleepy before the ambulance got there. Being ushered upstairs while they took mom. I wrapped them up and got them to their grandparents' house. Damn SUV was dead dry on gas and had a low oil light. Took care of it, then drove the 45 minutes to the hospital. It was far too late to pump her stomach or give her activated charcoal. So they gave her an 4 and just watched. She was eventually admitted. I held her unconscious hand for 8 hours until she woke up. I made small talk and held her hand until the hospital kicked me out. 72-hour psych hold. D exam for involuntary tomorrow morning. I am finally home tonight to update this after checking on and tucking in kids. My poor 16-month-old is being suddenly weaned and my oldest, B6, asked me why mommy wants to kill herself and leave us forever. I held him close and told him mommy is sick but is getting the help she needs. I cannot even begin to process my unhappy right now. I feel like I'm the surprise guest on a combination Twilight Zone/Jerry Springer episode. Please stop this ride, I want off thank you. The thank you of sorts update too. Lots of developments since the last update. While she was on a 72-hour psych hold, she was evaluated for involuntary hospitalization. The examiner determined she didn't require involuntary hospitalization, but she had to stay the full 72 hours of hold. She had several follow-up appointments set before release as well as a new therapist to help determine if she needed more frequent outpatient therapy or needed voluntary inpatient. She was supposed to be released to go to her parents' house instead of home. While this was happening, I got with and updated the lawyer. Her chances of getting custody are basically now nil. On arrival at her parents' home, having the 16-month-old with her there for overnight breastfeeding suddenly became a big issue. I informed the parents right then and there that they are now persona non grata. Never contact me or darken my doorstep again as long as they live on pain of a restraining order. I then took her home and made the house safe. At her appointment with the new therapist for evaluation, I went in with her. I brought the therapist up to speed and then after her evaluation, I dropped the reality bomb on her. Full disclosure now or divorce and homelessness. Divorce for her means losing the home, a 80-20th split, full custody to me, supervised visitation for her, no spousal support and she will pay child support. The papers are drafted and awaiting filing. I lit into her fully over the manipulative nature of her attempt and let her know just how badly she screwed herself. I got the DNA results but refused to share them. All 3 kids are mine. She is now in therapy 2/week for the foreseeable future. The kids have been doing kids group therapy. Besides a couple regression potty accidents with my daughter, they look to be in good shape. Our oldest has some lingering resentment toward her. I let her know in no uncertain terms that a single lie, backsliding, argument, or non-cooperation will mean the filing of the divorce and her homelessness. I then let her know that the totality of her actions now means that no matter how well therapy goes, no matter how much progress or track record she builds up, I will now date other people as I see fit, up to and including intimate contact. I have zero desire to do this but want her walking on eggshells believing it will, to prevent it from happening. 2. She and I, going forward, will have a cohabitation for the purposes of co-parenting only. Our intimate life is done for now. That could change in the future depending on progress made in marriage therapy. 3. After weaning the youngest properly, she will be going to a psychiatrist for a revaluation of her medications and abide by their recommendations. 4. In 1 year and 1 day, if nothing else comes up and all therapy goes well, we will reevaluate the status of our relationship. 5. If she goes behind my back to reestablish contact with her parents in any form, the divorce will be filed and she will be homeless. We are now 3 more therapy visits in since this, and while very difficult, some small progress is being made. I'm not holding out for nor expecting a miracle. She has nowhere left to run, nowhere to hide, and nothing but dire consequences unless she gives it her 100%. I'll update again if anything else happens, but for now it's just going to be day by day for the foreseeable future. Thank you everyone for your advice, encouragement, and shared personal experiences.